Hello and welcome to September. I have decided that I'm going to do vlogs for the month of September. Not daily, not weekly, just randomly throughout the month. I'm going to do vlogs. I'm trying something new with my reading this month, and I kind of just want to document it to see how it goes and what I think about it, what y'all think about it. So, as you know, if you've seen my stuff before, I have picked out my reading in a different way this time. This is all of the books that I'm planning to read. Let me make them large, and then I will try to get out of the way by going way down here in the bottom. Okay. As you can tell, a few things have changed from the last time I showed you this. So now I have numbers 1, 2, and 3 appear, 1, 2, and 3, and I have a little symbol right here and here, kind of looks like an asterisk, I guess. Anyway, what those are is those are books that are not part of my Aurelium Academy. Everything else has to do with Aurelium. What I have done is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik is a dark academia novel that I needed for my Litwits on Facebook. Everything else fit in with the prompt except for that one right there. So my new goal for Litwits is to read through all the prompts one time. That's 15 books. Everything fit except for Dark Academia. And I almost just said, never mind, let's not worry about it then. And then I was like, come on. Because another thing that I can do for Litwits is you can read 25% of a book before the first of the month. So I started this book yesterday. And I was like, oh, I'll read like 10 or 15%, and then I'll read the other 10% today, because today is the 31st, by the way. And then I'll be at 25%, and I will continue on there on the 1st. Well, I really like it. So I read 25% yesterday, and then I had to make myself stop. So that book is at 25% already. I'm going to be starting that one at midnight tonight. It's really good, but there are so many questions that I don't understand. It is... not questions, so many questions I have about things I don't understand. So we're starting, they drop us into a girl's life when she is in her junior year of a school program. So she only has 1 year left. That's year 11 of 12 if you don't understand junior, senior stuff. So she is almost finished with this program, and it has to do with magic. There is something about her that draws these evil beings, not just her, people who have magic. There's something about it that draws evil beings to them. But I don't know why this doesn't happen to all the adults in the world. Why doesn't it happen to little kids? It's just during this age period that it happens. So anyway, they send them all to this school that's supposed to protect them. But apparently the school does make it a little bit easier than if you weren't at school, but you're still constantly being attacked by all of these things are still coming at them. So I have not figured out exactly what's going on 25% of the way in. This book is at my library, so I have a copy of it. I've already checked it out. It's back here on my thing where I have a lot of the books for this time. At first, I had gone through here on this page and put a little book icon for everyone that I had the physical copy, and then it literally became too much. And I was like, no, so many of them I have the physical copy of this time, which is awesome. So the reason it says 1, 2, and 3 on those books, and they're under the hold section, is because those have become available since I put them on hold. And I went ahead and checked them out because I'm not losing my spot. So I have A Deadly Education that was on hold that I'm now reading. Then I will move to Devil in the White City because that came off hold first. Then I will move to the Foxglove King. Y'all, I say flocks every time. That also means my first 3 books, I have it physically. Oh my gosh, I'm about to dump them on myself. So this is A Deadly Education, Devil in the White City, and the Foxglove King. I did it again. And Devil in the White City is nonfiction. So I'm going fantasy, nonfiction, back to fantasy. At least I think it could be more romance, like romantasy. But I don't know. We'll find out. Anyway, I'm loving Deadly Education so far. That's what I'm going to continue doing. And as we go through the month, I will show you what fits where and where I'm putting it in. I did make these extra things so I can keep up with the readathons that I'm doing. Seasonathon Academy only requires 5 books to be read, and none of the first 3 that I'm starting with go in here. I am reading these 5 books, which are over here. They fit with Aurelium very nicely. So that's what I'm reading for Seasonathon Academy. then you can see that I have a blank page called Sufferathon, because Sufferathon drops once a week. We get prompts from the leaders, and it is my understanding that we will be able to pick the prompts that we want to do, pick the leader that we want to follow, the receptionist. There are 4 of them, I'm pretty sure. We have Paige and Aaron and Amy and Ren. So I'm pretty sure those are the only 4. I might be missing someone, but when I get my Sufferathon assignment, then I will add it on here and really hope that it's one of those books in the front. However, what I could not fit into those books on the front is Squash That Series. I'm covering up the squash. Just trust me that it says SQ under my head. So we are doing wheel spins this time, and it's only going from the 5th through the 8th. So this is what I spun on the wheel 1 was 400 to 500 pages, and it has to be a sequel in a series. We're not starting new series for this. And so I looked at my list. Somewhere Beyond the Sea works perfectly for this. However, it doesn't come out until the 10th, and this readathon is the 5th through the 8th. I tried to look for the Dungeon Crawler Carl ones up here. They're both too long. One is 600 pages, the other 700 pages. So I could not find in my list. Living Dead in Dallas is too short. That's in a series. So I just couldn't find one that was in a series that would work to be the exact right length. So I went over to my 50 before 50. That's why Forever is added down here. That's why it has an asterisk. I'm going to be reading it for my first book for Squash That Series. Once I've finished that book, I will spin the wheel again and then see what I have to get for wheel 2 and hope that it is one of these books back over here. Now, this is where I got everything to fit in the Dark Academia Litwits this time. So the only one I said that I had to add was the Dark Academia book down here. Everything else I got set in a school with a club or society, book with a black cover. I seem to be filled up with books with black covers this month. A book that teaches you something. I went with the nonfiction book because I thought that was easy. So that is what I'm doing. Those are the ones that I'm using for my Litwits game. That's all 15 prompts done, and I'm not going to go back and redo them. You can read up to 3 graphic novels per round, and I've got Batman and Spy Family in here. So I've got 2 in there for that. And that's it. The only other thing that I'm doing for this month is I have a calendar. And as you can see, I put a Deadly Education kind of over here since I technically started it before the 1st. And then I'm hoping to start Devil in the White City on the 1st. Now my plan, I want to see how busy this looks and how annoying it is. I did mark Squash That Series going from the 5th through the 7th. And then I just put STS on the 8th because that's when it ends. And I didn't want to write it all out in that one day. Anyway, as you can see, I do have Monday and Tuesday of the last week over here because I didn't want to have to make everything smaller to fit 29 and 30 under the bottom. So I just stuck it out to the side. I'm probably just going to do that each month if I like how this looks. So ultimately, I would like to print this out and put it in my planner so that I can see how my September went. But I need it to not look too busy. So one of the things that I was thinking about is when I read a Deadly Education, I'm putting it here because that's when I started it. And I would really like to have a line that just goes all the way across to whenever I finished it. And then I would have a picture of it at the end, or just have the line stop. And I'll be like, that's where I stopped reading that book. I don't know what it's going to look like. You guys are going to join me on this journey as I discover what it's ultimately going to look like. But that is kind of what I'm thinking. So I have talked for 10 minutes already right now. I'm going to try to keep these videos around 15 to 20 minutes total. So I will check back in with you once I kick this thing off and hopefully get finished with a Deadly Education. I'll check back in, tell you what I thought about it, and tell you what we're going to be doing next and how things are going. And it'll just be like checking in every once in a while when I finish another book, when something else happens, like if I get a Sufferathon prompt. In the middle of all this, I didn't say, I'm also doing a thing called Create-a-thon that's not about reading. It's about crafting or creating something. It doesn't have to be a craft. It can be anything. People are working on cooking. People are working on writing. I am working on just some of my other hobbies to try to find balance in my life so that it doesn't just involve one aspect. So Anyway, that's it. That's my first check-in. I'll check in with you guys later. Okay, it is not the 1st of September yet for me, but it is 6 a.m. in Australia for Paige, who is doing the Sufferathon. So she has dropped the first prompts from the 4. I was right about the 4 receptionist. So it says, pick your prompt or receptionist and good luck. It's 6 a.m. Please don't need me. She also says. So we have Amy and then Erin and then Ren and then Paige. So I'm going to watch them in that order and then see what that means. Pick a prompt or a receptionist. So I want to go with Amy just because she's my friend in real life. And so I kind of want to just pick her. But I want to see what the rest of them are. So I'm going to watch them all in that order and then I'll tell you about them. Okay, so if I go with Amy and her prompt, because of what I'm wearing, I don't know, this could technically be called blue. It looks way bluer to you than it does to me. To me, it looks gray. But she said if you're wearing a color of the rainbow, you get to count it. So here's what I'm thinking. My son's about to walk in. I'm going to ask him what color he thinks my shirt is. Hey, Wesley, what color is the shirt that I have on? It's because of a prompt that just happened. So, is this color in the rainbow or not?
If you have to choose one color, then it's dark blue.
She's wearing gray.
But if you have the option to choose multiple colors, then you're dark blue and gray.
But it's blue, right?
Because that is the majority. Yes,
Okay.
if you have to choose one color.
Okay. It seems that I have a blue shirt on, which means I have to read the prettiest and the ugliest book on my thing if I go with Amy. Let's see what Erin says. Okay, for Erin's, we have to do math, but I kind of like hers. So it says, add up all the books that you've read so far this year. Now, I didn't keep up with everything I read from January to June. So what I'm going to do is say that I averaged 25 books a month. January to June, that's 150 books. And then I read 36 books in July and 30 books in August. So that's 216 books. And then I need to divide that by 35. And I have 6.17, which rounds up to 7. So that means I have to read 7 books before the next prompt drop, or I have to unhaul or delete those books. So it sounds like with Amy's, I'm only going to be reading 2 books. But if I do Erin's, because I read so many books, my number's higher, I have to read 7 books. That's definitely the most suffering. So that is kind of the one I'm leaning towards right now. But let's watch Ren's. Yes, I am eating food while I'm watching. That's just what you do when your son shows up with food. Okay. Ren's was hilarious. The sweat. It wasn't actual sweat. I don't know if it was sweat. Just the wetness that was all over their face and the glasses. I was like, it is very much bothering me that your glasses are wet. Anyway, and then at the very end when they were like, can someone give me a towel? Anyway, Ren's video was awesome. I, however, will not be doing it. Number one, that's going to be way too much brain power for me to figure out 8 books in 8 different genres. And then the shortest ones on my TBR, I'll give a look to my TBR and just see if anything's jumping out at me. Like, if I can even find 8 different genres on my TBR, that's a possibility, especially because they said the shortest ones. So I feel like I could definitely do 8 short books. But then there's a possibility of having to unhaul them. We're just rolling a dice. Even numbers, we read it. Odd numbers, we unhaul it. I don't want to do that. So let's watch the last video and see what happens. Okay, wow. So for pages prompts at the end, I have to pick the longest book on my TBR, which I already know that it is the Butcher's Masquerade. Let me see how long it is. I know it's the longest. Wow, it is 726, which means I have to read 627 pages. Let me make sure that it's longer than number 4. I'm pretty sure it is, but the Gate of the Feral Gods, yeah, is only 632. Okay, so to get to 627 pages, oh wait, does that mean I could just read number 4? I'm looking for 628. Let's see. It's 632. That is very close. 29, 30, 31, 32. That's only 4 pages. 4 pages more. So that's what I'm doing. I am totally, well, okay, I still don't know that that's what I'm doing. Like, I still haven't decided because I do want to read these 3 books right here. So if I go with Aaron's, I'm just picking 7 books and I have to read them this week, but they can be any 7 I want. So I could read these 3 that I have already picked out up here. And then I could read like a Batman and a Spy Family. Like I could read a couple of these graphic novels and this one that's on my list. Although I don't know if children's books count. I need to check and see. Let me go ask. I'm kind of scared to post anything in the Sufferathon Discord because then you get put on their radar. And a lot of times they'll be like, no, that does not count. But I could absolutely read this as the 4th book this week and finish it before the new prompts drop if I wanted to do that. Read The Gate of the Feral Gods. But if I read 1, 2, and 3, I would be probably already close to the page number. This one is not going to count for Sufferathon because I've already started and I'm 25% of the way through. But let me look at the page numbers for The Devil and the Foxglove King and see what it is. So since I have them in person, okay, this is notes and sources start on page 391. So maybe that is where this will stop. Yes, because then we start with all the actual footnotes and stuff. So 390 pages in this book. I'm trying to get to 627 and 466 in this one. That's way too many pages. So really, I just need to read the first 3 books and I'll be done. So I think Aaron's is going to be the hardest, and that's what I'm going to try to do. 7 books this week, or I have to unhaul them. So let me pick the 7 that I'm going to do, and I will add them over on my Sufferathon board, which I know is right here, and it's empty. So I'm going to add them over. I'm definitely adding these first 3, and then we will think about some things. Okay, here's what I'm going to go with. Yes, I have brought 8 books over and not 7 because if they won't let me count this book, since it's 90-something pages, like it's technically maybe it's not even 90. Maybe it's like 23 pages because it's a children's book. So if they won't let me count that, I'm throwing in Chains right here by Laurie Hall Sanderson, which is a middle grade. I almost put a Front Desk over here because it's a middle grade also, but then I was like, I don't want to get all my easy books out of the way right at the beginning, and then I'm trapped in some other, like, who knows what's happening next. So that's my plan right now for week 1 of Sufferathon. I'm going to go over and write in the Discord, even though I'm scared about it, and then see what they have to say. Anyway, I'll check back in later. I'm still not changing up. I'm still reading Deadly Education first. Oh my gosh, it's been like an hour since I updated y'all, but you're not going to believe what's happened. So, first of all, for the Sufferathon, I realized that I could not. First of all, yes, we can read children's books. So I can put that there. We can also read books that we've already started. So I'm adding Deadly School Education. Why can I never think of the name of that? I'm adding it to the list. And then I think what I'm going to have to do is, anyway, let me show you what happened. So over here, which everybody is still truncated. Okay, so when you're streaming, it makes people's names shorter, so they're not giving away anything. I mean, my name is still on there, but you guys know who I am. So anyway, here's just what happened. Somebody was saying, I can't decide whether I should do Ren's or if I should do Amy's, and I said, do them both. Just being funny, right? Like, wasn't that funny to do them both? And so then Paige one of our receptionists, said, yes, I agree. You too. And I said, I'm sorry. What? And then she said, yes, I agree. Both for you too. You do them both as well. I've already picked Aaron's, and now I'm going to have to do Ren's and Amy's. So then she says, I said, so that means I get to double up. Yes? Not as far as I'm aware, she says. So then I said she was more sour than sweet, and that's where I'm ending it. I'm not saying anything else. I'm so scared to talk over here. But that means I have to add 2 more books for Amy's, the prettiest one and the ugliest one that I have on my TBR. So if I'm looking over here, I really do think that the reunion is one of the prettiest ones. I think it's because I like bright colors. I also think House of Hollow is really pretty as well because it looks so cool with that coming across her face. Did I leave House of Hollow over here? Yes, I did. So I might want to move Lessons in Chemistry over there. I definitely think Pride and Prejudice is the ugliest one on my shelf. And maybe that's not what Pride and Prejudice looks like normally, but that's what the version looks like that I downloaded. And I do not like it. So I guess that means I'm adding Lessons in Chemistry and Pride and Prejudice. But Lessons in Chemistry is coming over to take the place of House of Hollow. And House of Hollow is actually for Amy. So that is best looking, worst looking. I'm going to put them like this. So it's prettiest and ugliest. Oh my gosh. 2, 4, 6, 9 books already. And I'm about to add 8 more for the first week. Okay. I'm definitely adding graphic novels. Let me take a look at what I have. And she said the shortest one. So the 8 shortest graphic novels that I have. Okay, so I have a lot of graphic novels. That's not the problem. The problem is I just remembered that for Ren's, all 8 of them have to be a different genre or a different subcategory in the same genre. And I don't know what genres these are. So I've got to go do some research real quick. Okay, I did it. And I've got to put them over here still. But I found 8 graphic novels in 8 different genres. So my backup was going to be 8 picture books because at our library during the month of September, we're doing banned books. And I want to read all of the children's banned books for the month of September, like through the month. So I'm going to be picking them up and reading them a few at a time. And I was like, maybe 8 is a good number. Like, what if I brought 8 home and read 8 every week? But they're not going to be in a different genre over there in the children's literature. So here's what we're doing. I looked them up on Goodreads. It is at least in the top 3, the genre that I'm going with. So first is saga, and it's fantasy. It does have sci-fi listed, but fantasy is first. And I'm just reading one of every one of these. Even if I have a group of them, I'm just reading one. So saga, fantasy, spy family, comedy, humor really is what it said. Batman. You can tell that Batman is on this list. Well, you can't because I'm covering it up. I'm going to move that for something else. But Batman is a superhero. Stamped, history, Persepolis, memoir, Why the Last Man, sci-fi, Lore Olympus, a romance, and Something is Killing the Children, horror. 8 graphic novels, 8 genres. I'm going to go put all of their pictures up here. I'm not moving over Spy Family because up there behind me I have volume 7. So I'm going to read volume 6 for the other thing. And then volume 7 is going to be for this one. So I don't know what just happened. But I'm going to go add these books in here. And then I'm getting off Discord before something else happens. Clearly Django's ready to eat. So I'm going to do that and leave Discord alone until later. Okay, here they all are. I also have the 8 graphic novels just stacked in front of me right now. I have moved around some things, so I'm going to be reading volume 6 for this Sufferathon specific thing, and then volume 7 I will also read for the Sufferathon, but that's going to count for the one over here, the school thing. It is so weird that I am doing different readathons that start at different times. So since these graphic novels are specifically for Sufferathon already started. It started at 6 a.m. Sunday morning on Australian Eastern Standard Time. At least I think that's what AEST stands for. That might not be what it stands for, but I think it is. And that's where Paige is. So that's where we're starting the readathon. So it already started hours ago and I have not read anything. So I am going to tackle these graphic novels the rest of the night. Maybe I can get all 8 of them done and out of my way, and then I can carry on at midnight tonight, starting with A Deadly Education, which I've also been able to add in because I added it back over here. Because they don't care if you've already started a book, which is why I grabbed one of these, Lore Olympus Volume 3. I'm more than halfway finished with it. They said you don't have to be 50%, you don't have to be 25%. She even used the example of you can read 95% of a book and finish it and count it for this. So that is my plan, is I am just going to be reading one session, not episode. What are they called? I do this every time. Okay, I'm just doing one issue in each one. I literally just had to ask, like I do every time I forget. So anyway, I'll be back. I'm going to have to shrink this down. Like, this is all right now week 1, and this is already too much. So it's eventually going to have to be like shrunken like this so that I can put week 2 on here. Like, who knows what in the world is about to happen. But there will be none of the books read for this until midnight my time tonight, which is when the readathon starts. Or when September starts. It's when it starts for me. So I'm going to do graphic novels, and we're also picking our fantasy football teams in about 30 minutes as well. So I'm going to read, pick teams, and then read some more. Okay, I couldn't decide which one I wanted to start with. So, of course, I made a spinner wheel. Let's go. Let's see which one we'll be starting with today. Spy Family. Here we go. We're doing the draft, but it's not my pick right now, so I got to spin the wheel again because I just finished the first issue of Spy Family. Okay, here we go. Batman. My son's going to be so excited. So, as a quick update, I did spin and I got Saga while after I finished one of the 2 chapters in Batman. So at the front of the Batman book, it has the contents like this divided up, and it's got chapters 1 and 2, chapters 3 and 4, chapters 5, chapter 6. So I'm reading them like that, 1 and 2, then 3 and 4. So I finished 1 and 2. I've already gone and complained to my son about what's happening in this one. Also in Spy Family, it has it divided into chapters. So this is volume 6, but it has missions. So mission 31 through 37. And so I just read mission 31 and then I put a bookmark in it, and I'm keeping these here and I will add them back to the list after I read something else. Like, I can't get them twice in a row, so I am removing them from the list, but then I'm putting them back on. So then I got Saga and I added Batman and Spy Family back on. So I'm going to spin again and then I'll just read a chapter of it. These both I'm going to finish and call that the whole section, like the whole book. These I'm just reading one issue and calling it done. And Lore Olympus, I will finish the whole book, but I'm going to read that in chapters. Stamped, Persepolis, and Why, I don't know what I'm going to do because I haven't looked at how those are written. I know that Persepolis is 4 volumes in one, so I'll probably just read 1. I don't know how Stamped or Why is done. And then Something is Killing the Children is pretty short, so I'll probably just read the whole thing. I don't know. Let me look at the front. It is divided into chapters, but it doesn't tell me how many chapters are in here, so I see maybe it has 4 or 5 chapters, so I might do it by chapters as well, but I'm going to count it finished when I finish the whole thing. All of that to say, I've finished with Saga, or what I'm planning to read, because of the way I've been reading and been tracking. So let's see what's going to be next. Another chapter of Spy Family, it looks like. Okay, good. We right now are still dealing with and then I'm going to hide it, but then I will go back. I didn't remove it. And like Saga, I'm going to actually remove it because I'm finished with it. I'm not going to be reading it. So I'm just hiding Spy Family. And then when I spin again, I'll put Spy Family back on. Anyway, all of that to say, we're still following some people from the 5th book in this that I'll just say they don't like the way the house is being run, the family is being put together, and they would like to break up the Forger family. So that's what's going on so far. I've read one chapter, but I'm going to go read another one and then I'll spin again. I'm probably just going to pop up the spins here. And then when I finish everything, I will tell you about everything. But it's 8 p.m. So in 4 hours, I get to start my audiobook, and that's definitely what I will be doing. I did forget to tell you guys that over on the Discord, they opened up a casino and you could like propose things and bet things. And I asked if I could remove these 2 books that I was going to read for Amy's, and I won the dice roll, so they are gone. I do not have to read them. So let me go get a check mark so that I can check mark my Saga and be done with that. Okay, I'm using this one because it's so bright and I just want something bright. Everything on here is dark. Well, not everything. We have a few bright, but I want this check mark. Okay, so after all the nonsense of yesterday, which I still did not, I don't even know where. Oh, here it is. After everything that happened yesterday, I still am only 2 sections, missions, whatever, into the Spy Family, and I really wanted to finish it today. So I think I might focus on that the rest of the night and try to get it done. It is 11:30 p.m., yes, in case you could see that on my computer. That is correct. I have finished reading A Deadly Education today. I really liked it, and here is what I have decided to do for now on my calendar. So I finished. I'm not putting the graphic novels on here. I just decided that would be too much nonsense. But I just drew the little arrow saying that I finished it on the 1st, and then The Devil in the White City is what I'm reading now. And when I finish it, I'm going to draw an arrow to wherever it goes. I'm thinking that I should finish it tomorrow. I am like this. No, I'm further than that. Hold on. That was my old mark. That's how far I am in this book. So I don't know what I did with oh, here it is, my bookmark. Okay, I'm going to move it to the correct spot. Anyway, I'm mostly listening to it on audio. I think the guy that's doing the audio version of this must have read something else, and I want to say that it's a Stephen King book. Like, I'm getting vibes of 11/22/63, so that's what I'm going to go check and see if it's the same person that's doing the audio of each one. But anyway, I am done with The Deadly Education. I thought it was so good. I'm giving it 4.5 stars. I am so ready to read the next book. I want to know what's happening. We jump in. I already told y'all before, we jump into this girl's junior year. I understand so much more about how the magic works. I'm not even going to say anything because it's going to ruin it if you guys want to read this. So I'm not going to say what we find out about, but we just find out more information about what's going on. And the very last line of this literally says something that I went, oh, and then it's over. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I definitely am going on to the next book. I have this. I'm going to be reading this. Which reminds me, I made something. You guys cannot see them. Okay. I have spent all day today while I've been listening. I've been listening to books and printing things and cutting things out. And I'm hoping to use this in some way in an upcoming TBR game. So if y'all have any options, suggestions, I would like to hear about it. My first inclination was to say, let's put these on a wheel and whichever one the wheel lands on, that's the one I draw from. But here's what they are. These are books from this is a Cheers glass, by the way, if any of you know the Cheers, the TV show. Anyway, we got it when we visited Boston. But these are the books that I put on previous TBRs that I did not read. So they're in here. They're on TBRs that I did not read. That's what's in this thing. Then I have this thing from my friend. She has her own channel. Anyway, Celebrate the Little Wins is what it says. Her channel is Playing with Lakin. But this is filled up, like to the brim, pressed down, filled up with Kindle books. Look how tiny they are. It's filled up with a lot of them. It took a long time for me to cut and fold all of those, and I'm gonna have to dump them into something else to actually draw, like mix them up and draw. But for now, this is what they sit in. Then taking up almost as much space in this beautiful container that I painted at a pottery place one time years ago is all of my owned audiobooks. So there's a bunch in there, but I'll definitely be able to get my hand down in there and draw out one for us to do, or for me to read. Then my physical books that are over on this shelf that you can't see, which is mostly Book of the Month stuff. And then behind me, all on that shelf, everything that's not a graphic novel is in this library cup. And they are all pink, which looks a little bit red. But anyway, they're all pink. They're getting smaller and smaller as we go. These are the graphic novels that I physically own. So just a few orange. I didn't have to do a lot of cutting and folding for those. And then series that I have started or continued just in July and August. That's what's in this container. And it has purple in here. But these are all the series in June, July, and August. So I started in June, keeping track of the series that I have read or started. This is not 50 before 50. Anything that's not on my 50 before 50 is in here. And then I have one more container that is empty. It came from The Potluck, which is a YouTube channel called It's a Southern Thing. You know, we're from Arkansas. We had to do it. Anyway, this container is going to hold member recommendations. So that is coming soon on my channel. I have not set it up yet, but before October 1st, it will be set up. And my members will be able to give me recommendations, and they will go in here. So that is 7 jars, 8 if we count the 50 before 50 that I already have printed off in the giant box. That's 8 different things. So it's easy for me to throw those on a wheel, all 8 of those, and spin the wheel, and then I pick from there. And that could easily be a TBR game in itself. Like I just spin a wheel 5 times and I get 5 books. But you know, I don't want it to be plain like that. I want it to be more elements to it because I have to make things more difficult. So if you guys have any options or thoughts or whatever about what I can do, I would like to hear it. Anyway, I know this is only covered like a day and a half, but I did finish reading one book. And yesterday I talked to you all day about what was going on with Sufferathon. Which, speaking of, this is what the Sufferathon looks like right now. I'm out of the way, at least. I have finished A Deadly Education, and I've finished Saga. I was trying to complete one book each day, along with one graphic novel. So I'm on track to do what I wanted to do. But, because I know that this book right here is not going to take me a whole day. Spy Family shouldn't take a whole day, and Chains might not take a whole day. So then over here, I have been reading a little bit of Batman, and I'm trying to finish this Spy Family right now, which also we got punished today at Sufferathon because people were asking for food, like on the cruise. I may have asked for room service because I said I was stuck in my room reading all these books that I got assigned. And so then Paige said that we had to read something that had food on the cover since we were all worried about food. And this has chocolate candy at the bottom. That counts as food. I'm counting it. So I'm not adding another book with food on the cover. I mean, I was scouring these titles, these covers to see if I could find some food on the cover. So that does it. That works for me. And that's what I'm doing. So anyway, I'm going to end this one right here. I will kick off the next vlog in the morning, and I don't know how long it's going to last, but I'm trying to keep these not outrageously long. So you guys let me know what you think about what's happened these first day and a half of September, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.